Hello friends, this is Hitacha. I'll be talking about the ISMS framework clause 6, that is planning of ISO 27001 2013 standard. So let's move on. As W. Edwards Deming describes, it is not enough to do your best. You must know what to do and then only you will do your best. That is, you should plan first and then implement. An organization needs to establish its strategic objectives and should identify risk as well as the opportunities, and then they should relate the identified risk and opportunities to the scope of ISMS. There are some prerequisites before planning the requirements of ISMS. So, the prerequisites are management commitment to the security policy, security strategy and plan, and security measures. ISO 27001 2013 classifies the planning into two subclauses. Clause 6.1 Actions to address risks and opportunities. It has its three subsections. First is the general subsection for the planning, second is the information security risk assessment, third is the information security risk treatment. The second subclause information security objectives and planning to achieve them. Now, planning for the ISMS requirements is done, keeping some of the factors in mind, such as size of the organization, how big is the organization, what are the number of employees does the organization have, nature of its business, the operations the company performs, maturity the processes in implementing ISO. So, what is the maturity level of an organization? Is it CMMI level 4, CMMI level 5? And commitment of the senior management. How committed is the senior management towards implementing the ISMS and establishing the security procedures and practices? So we come to clause 6.1 actions to address risks and opportunities. So, first of all, we need to determine the interested parties and requirements. For determining that, we need to determine external issues. We need also to determine internal issues. So, after that, we come to determining risk and opportunities. For this thing, the inputs are methods, criteria for risks and opportunities. Also, we consider over here the intended outcomes, the prevention of or reduction of undesired effects, and the continual improvement of risks and opportunities. This leads us to planning of actions to address risk and opportunities. So, we undertake some of the methods to prevent and reduce undesired effects that are produced. We need to consider the acceptable level of risk that is proportional to the potential impact. So, impact and probability metrics will help you to gain this thing. We need also to consider the action plan and how to evaluate action and integrate into processes. And the final thing is implementing the actions. Planning actually considers establishing an ISMS framework. That is, in the PDCA cycle we refer to, the planning phase actually considers establishing an ISMS. Now, it is divided into three phases. The first phase considers defining the scope and boundaries of the ISMS. Once this is done, the scope of the ISMS should be documented. The second step is defining an ISMS policy, and the output of this step will be the policy document. Now we can we come to the phase 2, the third step, defining the risk assessment approach. Now, defining the risk assessment approach actually involves implementation standards for risk management. That is, an organization's own approach and methods of analysis and required level of assurance for the risk. Here, the information assets, the threats, the vulnerabilities, and the impacts of those vulnerabilities on assets are considered. Once the risk assessment approach is defined, we identify the risks. Now, output of this step will be the list of risks and inventory of the assets. Once the risks are identified, we need to analyze and evaluate the risk. The output of this step will be A report on the result of the risk assessment. After analyzing and evaluating the risk, we need to undertake the risk treatment. The output of this step will be report on the result of the risk treatment. Once risk treatment is done, we need to select the control objectives and the controls we need to implement for mitigating the risk. The output of this step will be standard of measures for risk. Once the controls are implemented, we need to obtain a management approval for the proposed residual risk. The output of this step will be the record of residual risk approval. The residual risks are those risks which stay even after implementing the controls. The next step is obtaining the management authorization to implement the ISMS. And the last step will be preparing the statement of applicability. This SOA procedure needs to be documented as per the ISMS guidelines. So now we move on to information security risk assessment. Let's define the term risk. Risk is a probability of occurrence of an incident that causes harm to an informational asset. So, what harm is caused by the vulnerability that is exploited, and what is the probability of the occurrence of that vulnerability? The combined mixture of both is known as risk. Why do we conduct risk assessment? Because there are threats to organizations, there are threats which are directed through organizations against other organizations of the nation. There are vulnerabilities existing in the system which are internal and external to the organizations. These can have adverse impact to the organizations that may occur given the potential for threats exploiting the vulnerabilities and the likelihood that the harm will occur. The information security risk assessment focuses on defining an information security risk assessment process and assessing the organization's information security risk. So, what is defining an information security risk assessment process? It considers that how are you going to perform the risk assessment process. So, what are the things that you need to consider? The organization shall apply and define the risk assessment process that, first of all, establishes and maintains an information security risk criteria, which includes two things: the risk acceptance criteria and the criteria for performing information security risk assessment. Risk acceptance criteria means that up to what level of risk can you accept that risk, that you need not to implement any controls for that level of risk. Also, how are you going to ensure that your repeatedly performed risk assessment produce consistent, valid, and comparable results? Each risk assessment plan you perform should also produce consistent, valid, and comparable results every time. The risk assessment process involves three steps. First is the identification, second is analyzing, third is evaluation. First of all, you identify the organization's information security risk. That is identifying the risk associated with the loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information within the scope of ISMS. You identify the risk owners. Who are the owners of the specific risk that you have identified? Then you analyze the organization's information security risk. That is, you assess the consequences that you might have to face in case the identified risks are materialized. You need to then assess the realistic likelihood of occurrence of the identified risk. That what is the likelihood of occurrence of the risk? Is the risk going to occur every month, every year? And third, do you determine the level of risk? What is the level of risk? Is it a high level risk or a medium level risk or a low level risk? Then you evaluate the organization's information security risk. That is, you compare the risk analysis results with the risk criteria you established earlier. Then you prioritize the analyzed risk for risk treatment. That is, prioritizing which risk do you need to address immediately, which risk can you defer. An example of a stepwise risk assessment approach is given over here. It's a 6-step approach. First, you calculate the asset value of your informational assets. That is, what is the cost of actual asset and what is the cost of protecting the asset. That is, when you implement the security controls to protect the asset from unauthorized access or disclosure, what is the cost you are incurring. Second is you identify the vulnerabilities and categorize them into very high, high, medium, or low. That is, very high vulnerability, a medium vulnerability, and a low vulnerability. Then you identify the threats that the hackers can exploit the vulnerabilities and cause a threat to your informational asset. You categorize them into very high threats, medium threats, or low threats. Then you do a impact versus probability analysis. That is, you construct a impact versus probability matrix and then you analyze the business impact of potential threats. You consider following factors when you do this, that is frequency of attack and the extent of loss you incur if a risk is materialized. The impact severity, that is, what is the severity of the impact, is calculated by a formula, that is asset value multiplied by the severity of the threat multiplied by the vulnerability's severity. After calculating the severity of the impact, you calculate the risk score. Now, the risk score is calculated by multiplying the severity of the impact with the probability of occurrence of the risk. Based on the level of the risk score, you need to decide the appropriate risk treatment. That is, you should either mitigate the risk, you should accept the risk, or you should transfer the risk. The last step is ascertaining and establishing the controls. That is, you identify the countermeasures and solutions to eliminate the potential damage. And lastly, you do the cost benefit analysis before implementing the control. That's all. Further sections will be explained by Khushbu. Thank you.